Welcome to the Explainer. Look, if you're a focused learner trying to build the absolute best fluff-free blueprint for your 2026 Yellowstone trip, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're breaking down the definitive strategic travel guide to Yellowstone National Park. We're going to strip away all that planning confusion and build your itinerary step by step using pure actionable strategy. Here's the game plan for today. 1. Flights, bases, and 2026 fees. 2. Mastering the Grand Loop Road. 3. Timing the iconic attractions. 4. Wildlife and safety. And finally, 5. Essential gear and strategy. Let's get right into it.
Section 1, Flights, Bases, and Fees. So the very first thing you gotta nail down is your airport, because honestly, your airport choice completely dictates your entire trip. Bozeman Yellowstone International, that's gonna be your best overall bet. It's only a quick 1.5 to 2-hour drive down to West Yellowstone, giving you super convenient access to the north and west entrances. Now, Jackson Hole is another great option, and it's highly scenic right inside Grand Teton, which is perfect if you're combining both parks, but keep in mind, it definitely adds some drive time. And then there's Salt Lake City. It's your budget-friendly hub for sure, but it commits you to a massive 5.5 to 6.5-hour road trip just to reach the front gate. Okay, once you actually land, where do you stay? The west entrance, specifically West Yellowstone or Island Park, is absolutely your best logistical base. You get central access, groceries, gas, and even EV chargers. Now, I know staying inside the park at places like Old Faithful or Canyon sounds iconic, but it's super limited, pricey, and you have to book literally months in advance. Staying out west completely removes that planning panic while keeping you right near all the action. All right, let's talk numbers with the updated 2026 entry fees. If you're a U.S. resident, it's pretty straightforward. An $80 annual pass or just $35 per vehicle for 7 days. But if you're visiting from outside the U.S., it works a little differently. You'll pay that $35 vehicle fee plus $100 per person for a single visit. So to put that into perspective, if you're an international road tripper, just go ahead and grab the $250 non-resident annual pass. It is totally the ultimate value. Moving on to Section 2, Mastering the Grand Loop Road. To really conquer Yellowstone's massive geography, you have to decode what's called the Grand Loop Road. Basically, think of it as a giant figure-8 road network. Each half connects you to entirely different geological experiences. The secret here is that you don't just drive around aimlessly, you conquer the loops. Let's start with the Upper Loop. This is your dedicated wildlife, waterfalls, and canyon day. Up here, you're going to group together Mammoth Hot Springs, the incredible Lamar Valley, which is hands down the absolute best spot for predator spotting, Tower Fall, and the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. By grouping these together, your day becomes incredibly efficient. On the flip side, you want to dedicate a totally separate day to the Lower Loop. This is strictly your geysers, hot springs, and geothermal wonderland day. This is where you're hitting Old Faithful, the Upper Geyser Basin, which includes that gorgeous Morning Glory pool walk, Midway Geyser Basin for Grand Prismatic, Fountain Pate Pot, Black Sand Basin, West Thumb, and the bubbling mud volcano area. The golden rule, keep the loops separate and you conquer the park. Next up, Section 3, Timing the Iconic Attractions. Listen, during the summer, parking fills up incredibly fast. So this daily timeline is literally your most powerful tool. From 6 to 8 a.m., that is prime time for wildlife spotting and totally empty parking lots. If you roll up between 8 a.m. and noon, you are walking straight into heavy traffic. But if you wait until after 5 p.m., you're going to be rewarded with perfect photography lighting and basically zero crowds. The takeaway here, go early or go late. When it comes to timing Old Faithful specifically, keep in mind that while it erupts roughly every 60 to 90 minutes, that exact timing fluctuates. So don't just stand around the boardwalk hoping for the best. Always anchor your schedule by checking the Visitor Center eruption board first. That way, you can go explore the rest of the Upper Geyser Basin and just loop back right as the eruption is actually scheduled. Now, for Grand Prismatic Spring, there is a very specific 2-step strategy you absolutely must follow. Step 1 is checking out the colorful thermal pools up close at ground level at Midway Geyser Basin. Pretty awesome, right? But Step 2 is the real game changer. Take a quick 5-minute drive down to the trailhead and tackle the half-mile steep uphill hike to the Overlook viewpoint. Do not skip this. That short hike is mandatory if you want that legendary aerial rainbow view. Section 4, Wildlife Tracking and Park Safety. If you're dead set on seeing wolves, black bears, and those massive bison herds, this specific route is your highest probability play. You're going to drive from Canyon Village up through Lamar Valley and right over to Mammoth Hot Springs. Lamar is absolutely the top zone for early mornings, while Hayden Valley is going to be your best bet for twilight sightings.
Now, we really need to talk safety. I want you to remember this number, 25. You must stay exactly 25 yards, which is about 23 meters, away from bison, elk, and deer at all times. They might look totally calm just grazing out there, but trust me, they are incredibly fast and powerful wild animals. And this next number is even more critical, 100. You have to stay at least 100 yards, or 91 meters, away from bears and wolves. This isn't just a guideline, this is to ensure total safety for both you and the predators.
Like I said, these aren't just suggestions, they are absolute mandates to keep everybody safe. Never feed the animals, never ever try to go in for a close-up selfie, and if there's a wildlife jam, only pull over where it's actually safe without blocking traffic. Oh, and if you're hitting the trails, you must carry bear spray, and please actually know how to unlock it before you start your hike.
Finally, Section 5, Essential Gear and Strategy. Packing correctly for Yellowstone basically means expecting rapid weather changes. You're going to need layered clothing, a light rain jacket because the weather just does what it wants, comfortable hiking shoes with solid grip, and of course, plenty of water, snacks, sunscreen, a cap, and sunglasses. But let me stress one absolutely crucial item on this list. You cannot skip binoculars. If you want a successful Lamar Valley wildlife experience, a good pair of binoculars is completely non-negotiable. Let's talk tech. Your smartphone strategy here is twofold. First, make sure you have the official NPS app. It gives you live data on roads, weather, and geyser predictions. However, cell signal is virtually non-existent in much of the park. Seriously, 0 bars. Because of that, you absolutely must pre-download offline Google Maps before you enter. It will literally be your navigational lifeline out there.
All right, here are your final overarching rules for a successful trip. First, keep your fuel tank at least half full at all times. Gas stations do exist inside the park, but they are pretty spread out. Second, respect the highly dangerous ground near those hot springs and stay strictly on the designated boardwalks and trails. And finally, remember that driving slowly is actually the whole point of the trip. The park is vast, the roadside stops are magnificent, and every single pull-off is part of the experience.
And there you have it, a dense, perfectly organized blueprint for your 2026 trip. You know the airports, you know the bases, you know the fees, and you've completely mastered the loops and the timelines. So with this ultimate strategy now in your hands, the only question left to answer is, which Yellowstone loop will you conquer first? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy planning.